safe and appropriate for you, please close your eyes. Begin to take some nice, long, slow, deep, relaxing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. With every inhale, feel more light and peace entering your body and mind. And with every exhale, let go of all tension from the body, inhaling peace and exhaling as you let go. We picture ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain in the center of a circular grove of trees. In the center of our circle, a bonfire blazes forth, and it lights us and the grove with a sacred golden light. This is the light of perfect love and perfect trust, and it easily and efficiently burns away everything not like itself, leaving us safe and serene. Into this space, we invoke the presence of our Creator. To many of us, our Creator reveals themselves to be a mother and father, a goddess and God. We also call upon our guides, our teachers, our angels. We ask that they be with us and guide us as we walk upon the way, helping us to be happier, freer, more successful, more peaceful, and more loving people. Blessed be. Most traditions of the craft do not carry any belief of original sin. The belief that human beings are inherently evil or inherently sinful is the cause of a lot of sinful, evil behavior. We're taught as very young children many times there's this inherent original sin within us and that we are sinners. And if we aren't exceptional, we will go to some place of eternal torment for all of eternity, to be tortured and abused, punished for our inherent sinful nature. Now, some parents don't teach their children that, but the thought form within the group mind of humanity has accepted that idea. I can't think of any more pernicious type of child abuse, allowing a child to believe that they're sinful, that they're evil, and they're going to hell unless somehow they can prove that they are exceptional. Because if you look at the lists and litanies of sins that we aren't supposed to commit, they're basic human nature. Basic human nature is what is so-called sinful behavior. There's no end to the normal, natural human frailties that are listed as sins in many of these belief systems that send you straight to hell, where you will be tortured ceaselessly unless you accept their thought system, unless you accept their belief system. Without question, you will be tormented. I can't think of an idea that is more important to purify from our minds as that. Because until we do, we don't really stand a chance at having happiness in this life or feeling safe in this world. If on any level you accept this belief that you are inherently sinful, and most of us do that without knowing we did that because we were so young when we heard it, it's impossible for you to have any self-esteem whatsoever. The craft, at least the way I practice it, holds that human beings are not inherently sinful, that we are inherently good, and that our core essence is divine. We are extensions of pure love and pure spirit. And our behaviors and our personalities in this world are subject to ego. And sometimes that ego will cause problems and try to negate the true nature of who we are, but it can't negate the true nature of who we are. It's impossible because we did not create ourselves. And whatever your concept of that power, that creator is, it doesn't matter. You can call it a god and goddess. You can call it God. You can call it goddess. You can call it force. You can call it higher power, whatever you want to. That power is the same power that causes the solar system to be born, that causes babies to come out of embryos, that causes photosynthesis, that causes all of the unbelievable miracles of life that we have here. That's who you are, that power. So this idea that you're inherently sinful is foreign to the truth. The idea that every individual is part of the divine child is one that flies in the face of this idea of original sin. There is a beloved child, and you're part of it. And each soul is unique. Each soul is unique. So you are a divine child. And together, humanity as a whole, ancestors, people that are living now and people that are yet to be born on this earth, we are all part of a collective soul, and that is the one divine child of the Creator. And we are all inherently good. We are all inherently holy. And anything that doesn't look like that holiness or that goodness only can happen within the realm of ego, only within the realm of hallucination and illusion. But those are not ideas that the Creator thought up for us. Those are ideas that we thought up for ourselves. So this idea that you're inherently sinful and that you have to work hard to become good enough is foreign to the idea of who you really are. Is foreign to the truth of your being. The divine child is not just a metaphor, it's a unifying thread that connects all of us. It reminds us of our shared humanity and our inherent goodness, our inherent holiness, our inherent divinity. And it emphasizes this idea that our essential nature is one of perfection, and it aligns us with the concept that all is good. This viewpoint encourages us to recognize and to cultivate the good within ourselves and within other people to foster a more compassionate and understanding approach to each other, which is the truth of who we are. Willing to look beyond and behind the illusions that the ego comes up with. This idea of our inherent goodness liberates us from this mistaken belief that we are inherently sinful. It sheds light on our intrinsic holiness, dispelling all self-doubt. This idea and this principle of our inherent goodness nurtures our self-esteem, it nurtures our confidence, and it empowers us to embrace and embody our authentic selves with love and kindness. And then we learn how to trust ourselves, and that trust starts to create a ripple effect of love and acceptance, and it fosters deep connections with everybody, including mutual respect, mutual compassion. And that's where forgiveness comes in. Forgiveness isn't something that we do because it's a chore. Forgiveness isn't something that we do because we are more spiritual than everybody else. Poor little people, I'm going to forgive you. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is just recognizing the inherent goodness in someone, regardless of their behavior, regardless of their ego. It's compassion. I was once given the assignment to monitor my self-talk for an entire day. Just the stuff I said to myself and about myself for an entire day. And I thought, well, that's going to be easy because I'm pretty positive. Ooh, was I shocked? I was so surprised when I started monitoring my speech and my inner dialogue. I was confronted with this continuous stream of self-hatred. Some of the things that I would allow myself to say to myself under the surface, where I didn't really notice what I was saying, was just awful. I would never speak to other people like that, ever. But for some reason, I thought it was cool to treat myself like that. The things that we say to ourselves hold so much weight and make such a difference in the way that we experience the world and each other. Being kind to ourselves is not something that you reserve for a special day. It's something that we have to discipline ourselves into doing always. It's important that we are the priority. How we treat ourselves first and foremost before anything else and anyone else. The things that we say, the things that we do that have anything to do with our relationship with ourselves, that has to be our priority. It's impossible to give something you don't have. You can't give love if you don't have love. If you secretly loathe and hate yourself, everything that you're trying to do to be kind to other people is not authentic. It's a nice effort and good for you, but until you've come to terms with who you are as a soul, who you are as a spiritual entity, and how beloved you are by your Creator, until you've accepted your divinity and understand how beautiful you are, how essential you are, and how lovely you are, you can't give it. It's not there for you to give. You trying to be kind to other people is almost a drain on your resources because it's not coming from an authentic place. You've got to start with yourself. You've got to put yourself first. If that sounds selfish, good. That's fine. It can. The universe wants you to be selfish in this regard. God wants you to be selfish. Because if you view yourself as anything other than lovely and perfect and fabulous, then you're believing in your ego, not your soul. Now, it's true. We all behave poorly. We all think poorly in this world. We all do stuff that we regret. But that didn't come from your spirit. That didn't come from your soul. Most frequently, it came from you believing that you were less than. It came from you believing that you were sinful or that you were unworthy. When you look at yourself as a beautiful, strong, powerful ray of perfection, that's not arrogant. That's humble. Because you didn't create yourself. You're not taking personal credit for that. This is the gift that was given to the world as you. You are God's gift to the world. People use that expression as an insult. Who do you think you are, God's gift to the world? You are. If anybody ever asks you that, you say, yeah, I am. And so are you. You are a gift. You trying to believe that you're anything less than perfect is arrogance. So like I said, that whole day sounded like it was going to be such an easy day for me. No biggie. Maybe a couple negative thoughts here and there, but piece of cake. Ooh, was I floored? Was I floored? Like, how much can I loathe myself? I did not know that I had this much self-loathing. I was so clueless, but it's so nice to know when you discover that, when you can open that mental shield between your conscious and your subconscious thinking and realize that you've got this self-loathing machine on autopilot churning out all of these ideas of how bad you are and how undeserving you are. No wonder stuff doesn't work out for us. I remember thinking that when I saw that, I thought, no wonder I'm always having problems with stuff. If this is how I really feel about myself, and this is what I'm broadcasting out to the world, I know that thoughts are creative, and these are the thoughts that are churning out. No wonder stuff isn't always easy for me. So I had to come to terms with the fact that no, I'm an infinite ray of perfect, pure spirit that has no need for improvement. There's nothing wrong with me. Somebody had given me an affirmation once when I was young. They said, I'm perfect just the way I am. And after this exercise, I remember thinking, just the way I am makes it sound like there's something wrong with me. So I took the just out of there. I'm perfect the way I am. I was created perfect. I am perfect the way I was created. Why would perfection create imperfection? How is that even logical? I asked myself. How is that even logical that perfection could create imperfection? So since that doesn't make sense, any imperfection that I'm experiencing is learned. Something I learned. It doesn't come from spirit. It's something that I picked up along the way, and I ran with it because everybody else runs with it, and everybody else believes that we're not perfect, and everybody's seemingly stuck in this rock tumbler of imperfection. But the cool thing about a rock tumbler is that when everybody's rough edges goes up against one another, it starts to refine each other. And that's how spirit works when we allow it. Spirit takes everything and uses it for our own awakening. So all of those rough edges, all of those problems, all of those false beliefs, if we allow her to, if we open to the idea of it, Spirit will take all of whatever we're going through and use it as a vehicle to take us on the right path of understanding, having that full knowledge of who we are as inherently perfect, lovable creatures. And once we realize that, we look at ourselves and say, I am nothing like I thought I was. I have no idea who I am. The only me that I am familiar with is this false me that I've been fearfully clinging to for all these years because I didn't know how else to get through this world safely. It's so crucial that we consistently remind ourselves that we are never to accept anything less than the respect from ourselves that we expect from others. I need to be respected. She was not respecting me. Okay, well, that's okay to call that stuff out, but how are you respecting you? Maybe she was taking her cue from you. I've noticed, for myself anyway, that people tend to treat me the way I treat myself. And so if I have a lot of people disrespecting me, that's maybe an indicator that it's time for me to look at how I'm treating myself and how I feel about myself. Embracing the realization that we did not create our own existence helps us to grasp that our own self-inflicted cruelties are a disapproval of the force that created us. In other words, it's like giving a middle finger to God anytime you're mean to yourself. Look what you did. You suck. This is as good as you've got. Look at me. I'm so defective. So anytime that we're so cruel and mean and critical of ourselves, we are in effect telling infinite intelligence it screwed up. You see how that's arrogant? And it's a habit that we got into. So we have to get into a new habit. We have to get into the habit of accepting the perfection of who we are. Infinite Spirit is the source from which all of us originate. And it does not view us as flawed beings. It views us as what we really are, powerful entities of light, meant to radiate, meant to shine. It views us as who we are, the gift. For God so loved the world that he gave it its only begotten Son. That's you. It's not Jesus. It's you. It can be Jesus if that's your thing, if that's your path. Good for you. I love that. You embrace you. You do you. But you're the only begotten Son as it shines as you, the unique ray that you are. You are just as important as every other ray in the divine child that is humanity. When you realize that, then you don't have that arrogance of thinking that others are less than you. You also don't have that arrogance of thinking that others are better than you. You recognize that we are all so unique that there's no comparing. There's no way to compare. And that's what it means, that old Egyptian saying that every man and every woman is a star. You're meant to shine in your own unique way. And this world wants us to believe that because you're so unique, that there's something wrong with you. We got to call that out. We got to call that out in ourselves, and we've got to call it out in others. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to go monitor other people, but what I'm saying is you don't need to automatically go in and agree when somebody's self-deprecating. You don't have to automatically go in and agree and laugh at their jokes at their own expense. You don't need to lecture them, but you need to remind yourself internally that you encourage them to see their own unique divinity. Because when you do that for another person, even silently, which is more powerful usually than verbally, then you're also doing that for yourself. And if you're not willing to see other people's unique divinity shining through them, especially when they have bad behavior, especially when they are in periods of fear and worry, uncertainty and sickness, and mental sickness and illness, spiritual illness, when you're not willing to see how they're shining, then you're also telling yourself that there's types of behavior that you can indulge in, which makes you not worthy, that makes you a sinner. Let's commit ourselves to not seeing ourselves or other people as sinners, especially those of us who say we don't believe in that concept. Because a lot of the times when we say, oh, I don't believe in the concept of sin, then we just let it happen under the surface and we never question it. Make sure that you don't believe in the concept of sin. Make sure that you don't believe that everybody is inherently sinful. Make sure that you don't believe that certain people are inherently sinful, because what you're doing is you are claiming that for yourself, and it's not the truth. But today's not so much about them. Today's really about you. Today's about you accepting your divinity and accepting yourself, sure, just the way you are right now, warts and all. That's a good place to start, but recognize that the warts and the just of that, the just is the way I am, isn't the way you were created. The warts of it, the ego of it, is not who you are, is not how you were created. And when you focus on who you are as that perfect soul, that other stuff just falls away of its own accord. You don't have to work on it so hard because you're no longer believing that you are the sinful, evil, awful creature that's going to hell. Remember that guilt demands punishment. That's the rule in the land of the ego. When you feel guilty about something, that means punishment's on its way. So what's the trick? Stop feeling inherently guilty. You have nothing to feel guilty about. Now, it's true that there are types of guilt that are positive, and that's a whole different lecture. When you do something that you know is not right and you have that pang, yeah, that's good. That makes you not repeat that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about existential guilt, that you're guilty just for being alive, that you were created as this sinful creature. We've got to take our power back and recognize who we are. You are God's gift to the world. That's who you are. No one can take your place, and you're perfect exactly the way you are. You don't need to change anything in order to claim your perfection. And when you claim your perfection, your behavior will change automatically. Today is the day of your liberation. Today is the day of your salvation. What you're salvaging is the truth about you, and you're letting go of all those lies, all of those pernicious lies that there's something wrong with you that needs to be fixed. God didn't create junk, and that includes you. So let's do that today. Let's embrace our perfection. And you can remind yourself all through the day, I am perfect the way I was created. I am perfect the way I was created. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be.